It is season 2, episode 48 of the Hall of Fame show. There isn't any famous number 48, so usually this is where Evan Nolan and we come up with something to try to get you to go see one of our other sites. I mean, they're famous 48s, but nothing United States related. And what we're talking about is the United States Athletic Hall of Fame. Take it, Evan.
So 4 + 8 is 12. Tom Brady's number 12. I'm sure he'll be in there at some point.
Okay, that works. He might still be playing when he's eligible.
That is entirely true because eligibility is age 50. So you have to be 50 or older in order to get in. And someone's like, well, what do you do in case somebody retires? I'm like, when is Tiger Woods retiring? Like he could be playing till he's 75, right? On one tour or another. So we just did, you had to be 50 one way or another. And Brady is 44. So it's he said he wanted to play till 45. If he's got a team that's tied for first in the NFC right now. So why not play next season and this season after and the season after? There got to be a couple more records he doesn't have. So
I'm sure there are. I could probably look them up. Maybe he wants to get that rushing quarterback record, which he could possibly get in 23:52 at his pace.
How far behind is he on Cam Newton on the touchdown record? I wonder.
Well, I think Cam Newton is. I think he's at 79 or something. Cam Newton's at a sick number for rushing touchdowns. But what we're really promoting, sorry, I got ahead of ourselves. It's the United States Athletic Hall of Fame. And it's something that Evan and I created along with former NFL player, former Olympians, some coaches, fans. It's really, really awesome. And all the votes are done by you. And it's transparent. What more do you want from a Hall of Fame?
Yeah. So the only thing that we are involved in, other than having everything up on the site and everything, is we are part of the committee that makes sure that we have the right people out there for you guys to vote on. Other than that, it's up to you guys to vote. So we're going to make sure someone today posts on one of your things. I don't like it. Fernando Tatis is probably going to end up with the most votes for some reason. And I put on there, no, that's why we have the committee, right? We want to make sure that if somehow everybody got behind, I don't know, one of the who's the synchronized swimmer? I can't think of her name. Ruiz.
I mean the swimmer or the racer?
The synchronized swimmer.
Oh, synchronized swimmer. Oh, Tracy Ruiz. Yeah.
Tracy Ruiz. Yeah. So let's just say everybody got behind Tracy Ruiz for some reason. She's still the greatest synchronized swimmer of all time. But I mean, even though it's someone you might be like Tracy Ruiz over somebody, just pick who it is.
I mean, I'm saying this, but as a Canadian, I might dispute that with Carolyn Waldo. But yeah.
Okay. Regardless, I know. Where's Waldo on this list?
Oh, she's not because you have to find her in Canada.
Oh,
and it's the United States Athletic Hall of Fame.
There you go.
www.nothallofame.com/USA.
So anyway, yeah. By the way, rushing TDs for Cam Newton 74.
74. Which is probably more than a lot of Hall of Fame running backs.
Yeah, I'd imagine. Tom Brady and rushing TDs, because he's done a lot of those the quarterback sneaks here.
19?
27.
Oh, 27. Okay.
22 with the Patriots and 5 so far with Tampa. So anyway.
But yeah, last week was a loaded show. This week, not nearly as much. We cover Hall of Fame related news, and because sometimes there's not a lot, we have regular sections, which are now back. But Evan and I thought we'd open up the show by looking at the Baseball Hall of Fame tracker done by Ryan Thibodeau. You can follow it, not Mr. Tibbs on Twitter. Chances are,
you should follow it. Yeah, 100%.
Odds are, though, if you're listening to us, you're probably following him already. And there's only 26 votes 26 votes that have been made public.
Right. Which is 6.6% of all the possible ballots.
Right. So if it were to end right now, which it isn't, then we know that Bonds, Clemens, and Ortiz are a Hall of Famer. This will always change. A lot of the older generation and the ones who were less likely to vote for the PED guys, they don't make their ballots public.
True.
Because I always see Bonds and Clemens go down every year from this tracker. Anything that that sort of jumps out at you?
I mean, I do think it's interesting. I think Ortiz is actually about where I think he's going to end up. I think he's going to end up at like 76, 77, 78%. I've been on record. I think he's going to get in, but barely.
Yeah, you have.
It'll be interesting to see Bonds and Clemens. By the way, it got balanced out. Remember, we had the one guy who voted for Bonds and not Clemens. So one person has voted for Clemens and not Bonds to even it out. It still makes no sense, people. But it is interesting to see that pretty much everybody who's been on the ballot looks like they're going to stay so far, although Jimmy Rollins may be joining everybody. Oh, and Tory Hunter doesn't have any votes right now, but we were surprised he stayed on last time.
Very much so.
Yeah, it's interesting. It doesn't look like Schilling's getting in. He keeps losing votes.
So is Omar Vizquel.
Yeah, well, he has a reason.
Well, so does Kurt Schilling. He pretty much said, "Don't vote for me."
True. I'd say that that Vizquel's reason might be a little bit different. So
yes, and for those unaware, Omar Vizquel has been accused of sexual misconduct by his ex-wife, I believe.
Yeah.
So, or soon to be ex-wife. I'm not sure.
But, something like that.
Yeah. Either way, I don't know. I'm not into that sort of thing. Whenever these stories come up, unless I have to know about it for the show, I don't want to read about it. I'm not that
interested
on Omar's misdealings. I never thought he was a Hall of Famer anyway. I thought he was close. And I've been on record saying, and you can find this, I've said it, he's a defensive compiler. And I honestly think that he won some Gold Gloves that I can't believe I'm using this name and underrated, but I am. Cal Ripken was an underrated defensive shortstop. I truly believe that. Regardless, I think this will be a lot more interesting next week when we look at that, see if any of them drop off, anyone joins. A-Rod is, what is he at, 50%?
50%, same as Helton and Andrew Jones. So as of right now, through 26, we have 80.8% for Bonds and Clemens, 76.9 for Ortiz, 65.4 for Schilling and Roland, 50 for Helton, A-Rod, Andrew Jones, 38.5 for Manny Ramirez. Oh, sorry, 50% for Billy Wagner. I missed that part. 38.5 for Sheffield as well as Manny. They're interesting to tie together, actually, when you think about it. 23.1 for everyone's favorite Survivor contestant, Jeff Kent. 19.2 for Omar.
Mine's John Rocker.
And Sammy Sosa. I said favorite Survivor contestant.
Oh, sorry.
Favorite. 15.4 for Abreu, 7.7 for Pettit and Rollins, and then 3.8 for Ryan Howard and Mark Burley, both of whom would fall off with that. Although I wouldn't be surprised if both of them somehow end up sticking.
Well,
Burley particularly.
Yeah. So yeah, that's sort of an interesting thing to look at. From there, I want to sort of like go back to the shit box. My weekly thing, which we sort of I didn't really do much for that last week, or just look at something that's kind of either bothering me or maybe I'm praising for whatever reason. And did you see who Time is named as their athlete of the year?
Not athlete of the year, person of the year.
No, they have that too.
Oh, no, I did not see. Oh, I saw the sportsman of the year was Brady for Sports Illustrated. I did not see. Yeah, I didn't see Time's athlete of the year, so no.
It is Simone Biles.
Okay.
And I'm not overly fond of it, but I really don't care. For the same reason that I didn't care about a month and a half ago when Playboy put some guy on the cover, and when Sports Illustrated had their first ever trans person on that, because the reality is, who gives a shit? Time's Entertainer of the Year was Olivia Rodrigo.
Okay.
Not someone.
I think she just got her driver's license.
I think so. And I don't even know if that's, what is she? She's 18. I guarantee you that somebody had to explain to, perhaps not Simone, but definitely Olivia, what Time is. You just won this. So like, and the reason I brought this up is there's a lot of people on the far right, or right-wing sports media, and I shouldn't say far right, but right-wing sports media, pissing and moaning about Simone winning this. Who gives a shit? This doesn't mean anything.
I would just like to put up that I was talking to my daughter about a week ago,
Mhm.
maybe 2 weeks ago now, and she said, I don't get magazines. They just seem like, she's like, they just seem like a more boring, oh, what did she say? It was like a more boring like YouTube. I can't remember exactly. It was like a website, she said. It's just a more boring version of that. Like, I guess that's probably true. So, I mean,
It is.
yeah, she's 9. So,
It totally is. So, like, at the end of the day, Time Magazine also too. By the way, I've realized I'm a 4-time winner of the Person of the Year. I figured this out.
so the one of the years I know was you.
Yes.
So that one I got, not you personally, but you in general.
Well, yeah, it said you. So, like, I'm going to take that as a win. I'm going to take that as me. But
So what were the other 3? What were the other 3 times you won?
all right. Well, the other one was the protester, because one time I was caught in traffic in a protest and I was there for 3 hours.
Okay.
So technically, I was a protester. So that was me.
Okay.
The Good Samaritan. I've done a lot of nice things.
Mm-hmm.
I consider that me. So I don't forget what the other one was. I had it all queued up.
Is it that you're Elon Musk?
No, I'm not Elon Musk. And I'm not Hitler either, a past winner.
No. Fair enough. I mean, the whole thing about that too, because the left wing people were upset about Times Person of the Year. Times Person of the Year is not the best person of the year.
Mhm.
It's not the best person on the planet. It's the person who they feel had the most impact of what happened for that year.
Yeah, and then that's pretty much what it is. Oh, the whistleblower. Whistleblowers.
Oh, the whistleblower.
I told my brother
I was a
when
referee.
Yeah, well, I told my brother once when I was a kid. I don't know
There you
why,
go.
but I know I did. I think he had a party or something. He's like way older than me, but yeah. So there you go. I'm a 4-time winner. I'm going to consider that. Now, as a 4-time winner, I can tell you that this is meaningless. So for all those
Fair enough.
criticizing these recipients of the year, as a 4-time winner, I can tell you, no one. It doesn't matter. I hope I've mended some bridges here.
Fair enough.
That's all I got. They're not all gems, okay?
Fair enough. Yeah, that was good though. So, yeah, I mean, I didn't even know. Here's how important it was. I didn't even know Time Magazine had a entertainer and sports person of the year.
I only learned about it because people were complaining about it, and it was and it's the same reaction that I always have. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It'd be one thing if Sports Illustrated said something like that. That's totally different because that is what they cover. I haven't looked at a Time magazine in how long? I can't even tell you, or even their website.
You can't remember the last time?
Good one. No, I cannot remember the last time. It's more likely Morris Day in the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wonder if Simone Biles even knows what that is. She's 24. Why would she?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, time used to be a big deal in our house. We'd get it all the time. Oh, sorry, that was not meant to be a joke there. We'd get it on a weekly basis, and my dad read it, and I'd actually read it, which isn't going to be surprising for the passings. I just like knowing who had passed away that week. I know that sounds like something that would never lead to anything I've ever done at any other point in my life.
Except for the next minute or so.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, and just going through what was going on, things like that. It was a big deal in my house, but we haven't, here's a question. How many magazines do you get right now?
That I get?
Yeah, how many magazines do you get delivered to yourself?
0.
So I get 1, and it's Games Magazine. So it has crossword puzzles and stuff like that. I get 1 of those on a monthly basis, and I do the crossword puzzles and the stuff in there. But I don't get any reading magazines delivered. I used to get Sports Illustrated. I got, actually used to get El Grafico, which is the Argentine soccer magazine, delivered to me in Boston. I used to get like, I don't know, 4 or 5 a month. And now I get 1, just because I want to have new crossword puzzles, essentially. Something to do in the bathroom. So, yeah. But anyway, well, that was a very calm shitbox. I have to say, your shitboxes have not been as ranty as they started. So,
Because sometimes I don't really have anything that really makes me want to get off on a rant. It's not like a whole Trudeau thing or anything like I can go off on that one for days, but I've already done that.
mhm.
No, it's just that. It's just I think I get more upset. Look, when people get upset over nothing, over stuff that doesn't matter, when there's so much stuff that does matter. That's pretty much it. I'm sure there's going to be one where I'm just going to fly off the deep end, and you'll probably wonder if you want to return next week. But no,
Right. So, all right, should we go to the death crawl this week?
yeah, hopefully it's a lot less than last week.
Yeah, last week was vicious. I just updated it here, and we have a late.
Is that a pun?
Yeah, we have a late person. So, all right. So there's one more person who I'm just adding who is just announced having passed away. All right, we're going to start in the world of tennis. So Hall of Fame tennis player Manuel Santana of Spain passed away at the age of 83. Member of the International Tennis Hall of Fame. Won the 1963 French Open on doubles, won the 61 and 64 French Open singles, 66 Wimbledon, and 65 US Open, as well as the gold medal in 68 in the Olympics, when tennis was only a demonstration sport at that point. It wasn't actually a full sport, but he won the first technical gold medal in tennis, even though it didn't necessarily count.
Huh.
Yeah,
No, there's something I didn't know. I for whatever reason I thought tennis was a sport in the Olympics for forever.
It was not. It seems like it should have been, but they had very, very, very strange things for a long time in the Olympics.
Bring back the tug of war. Bring
back tug of war. Tug of war would be. Who would not watch the tug of war? I just like random countries up against each other. You have like some small country like Samoa, who naturally have like bigger people, going up against like Samoa against like
Bulgaria.
Yeah, I was gonna say a former Eastern Bloc country.
Yeah,
like that just seems like one of those ones you can get like 5 guys big enough for your country to win in tug of war. I'm just saying. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'm all on board with bringing back tug of war. So,
I mean, if they can have breakdancing in for the next one, you can bring back tug of war.
Fair enough. I mean, that's something that everybody does. So, yeah, but Santana was elected, as I said, in 1984 to the International Tennis Hall of Fame. He was captain of the Spanish Davis Cup team twice, and he passed away. So he also won the, what do I want to call this? The Philippe Chartrier Award, which is people who have made, it's basically the ITF's version of, I guess, the Buck O'Neill Award. Like the person who has done most to help build tennis globally. So he won that last year, actually, but he passed away at the age of 83. They have not actually announced his death, the cause, but Nadal and Spanish King Felipe VI and a whole bunch of other people have commented on it.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a very big deal in Spain.
Yeah. From the world of wrestling, Jimmy Rave, also known as James Michael Guffey, passed away at the age of only 39. He was with the Ring of Honor and TNA Wrestling, Total Nonstop Action Wrestling. Do you have anything about Jimmy Rave?
I only saw him a couple times. I learned that he had MRSA.
Is that what it was? Yeah, there you go. He had in October. He had both of his legs amputated due to a MRSA infection.
Yeah, and he already lost his arm before that. So wow. I think that was a couple years before. I read that he was dealing with a lot of addiction issues. It's not like I want to say like this death is sort of self-inflicted, kind of is, but still. At some point,
if you have no legs and one arm, you may just be like, forget this.
No, I'm not saying. I don't think he took his own life. I don't believe
that I'm not saying that either. I'm
Yeah.
saying like losing the will to fight whatever's
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah, that, and he was his own worst enemy from other reviews or tributes I've learned. But 39, Jesus, this is it's odd. It really is.
Yeah. So from the world of poker, we lost Henry Orenstein, who's a member of the International Poker Hall of Fame in 2008. He's also a member of New Jersey Inventors Hall of Fame.
What do you invent?
He is he's a Holocaust survivor, came to the United States, had more than 100 patents, including for the Transformers toy line.
He invented Transformers?
He did. And was a member of the Poker Hall of Fame.
Holy crap.
And
what a life.
And it survived the Holocaust.
Wow.
Other than that, he didn't really have much to do.
Other than that, yeah.
But yeah, he there's so he and his hold on 1 second, I'm gonna make sure. So actually he was also one of the characters portrayed in Schindler's List.
Oh.
So he was one of the actors who was there. So he was brought to the Ravensbrück concentration camp in Germany. There was an announcement that any scientist should rise to the office. He figured that was a good chance of survival, and he and his brother signed up, even though they had no scientific training. And they convinced the Nazis they actually were scientists, and worked their way through the Holocaust, surviving that way. So, but Henry Orenstein was 98 years old.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you can sort of like bluff through a bunch of German Nazis, you can bluff your way through.
Yeah, a poker table is not nearly as scary.
Jesus.
Wow.
That's incredible. Like, wow. Schindler's List is one of those movies you just can't watch twice.
Yeah, I have to say, have you ever been to the Holocaust Museum?
I've not, no. I haven't been to Washington. Last time I was in Washington, D.C., I was a little kid. I don't even think they had the Holocaust
They
Museum.
didn't have it then, probably. I've been to the Holocaust Museum twice. Once with my family when I was in like 7th or 8th grade, and then once as an adult. And it is so well done. I've got to be one of the few people who's been there twice, because it's so well done. You never want to go again.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
It does.
So.
No, it's, it's after you learn 2 + 2, you don't need to sort of like go back and retake it. That's a terrible analogy I just gave, but I hope that sort of.
I understand what you mean. So, the late breaking news for someone passing away: Len House passed away, the starting center for the Redskins from 64 to 77. He's passed away at the age of 79, 5-time Pro Bowler in 66, 68, 69, 70, and 72. Second time All Pro in 74 and 75, in years he did not make the Pro Bowl, which just goes to show Pro Bowl and All Pro have nothing to do with each other. Once again, was voted one of the 70s greatest Redskins, member of the Redskins Ring of Fame, and member of the Georgia Sports Hall of Fame. Played 196 games in his career and started 192 of them.
One of the all-time great players for that team in Washington.
Yep. Yeah, everyone always talks about the Hogs, but Len House is probably their greatest lineman before the Hogs.
Oh, definitely. So,
yeah, that just came in between my doing this earlier and just reloading quickly. So
I'll have to read the obit when we're done.
Yeah. From the world of authors, I just want to bring it up because I just saw she passed away. Anne Rice passed away at the age of 80. I missed that until today. Probably most famous for The Interview with the Vampire. I
was like the sequel where he got the job.
We had the Vampire Lestat.
Yeah, the vampire gets the job.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was the vampire at that point, so I guess.
Yeah.
So she also wrote Queen of the Damned, which of course was the thing that made Aaliyah a star before she passed away, and a bunch of other ones. So
I have to joke here. Not about Anne Rice's passing, but I went to that movie, Queen of the Damned, and Aaliyah's in there, and I went with this was dating this Vietnamese girl at the time whose English was not so good. Also, she was the main secretary for the company I worked for, sort of dipping in company ink, you could say. But
yeah, understood.
anyway, we go to that movie, and then so like afterwards, so like right at the end of the movie, then they go to the credits, and it says dedicated to the memory of Aaliyah. And I say to her, I said, Aaliyah, she was the main vampire in this, and then she just passed away. And she goes, I know, the other vampires got her. It's really cute. One of those. Yeah.
Well, after that, Anne Rice passed away of complications from a stroke at the age of 80. So, one of the great executives in baseball history, Roland Hemond, passed away. I think it's Hemond or Hemond. I don't remember exactly how to pronounce it. I think we saw it and written. But he was the general manager of the White Sox and Orioles. White Sox from 70 to 85, Orioles from 88 to 95. But he was in baseball operations from 1952 through 2017. So he passed away at age 92. He got a World Series ring as a member of the front office of the Milwaukee Braves in 57. Two-time Sporting News Executive of the Year in 72 and 89. The UPI Executive of the Year in 83. Won both the Buck O'Neill Lifetime Achievement Award and the Branch Rickey Award. Aren't that many folks who have done that.
No.
But just one of the in 2001, people call him he was named the King of Baseball. But yeah, he is just one of the very, very important people who they don't really have many executives anywhere in the Baseball Hall of Fame. But if they ever did, Hemond would be one of the first people you'd have to think about.
Did we lose three people who won a ring in the 57 World Series? Because him, Hank Aaron, isn't there somebody else you mentioned who passed away?
Let's see.
Like this year. I think I could have sworn.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
57 World Series. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
But did Lou Burdett, did he pass away this year?
That's possibly.
No, he passed away a while ago.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know.
I could be wrong.
I will say the 57 World Series had the following Hall of Famers who were participating. For the Braves, Hank Aaron, Red Schoendienst, Warren Spahn, and Eddie Matthews. For the Yankees, Yogi Berra, Whitey Ford, Mickey Mantle, and Eno Slaughter, with Casey Stengel as the manager. And two of the umpires, Jocko Conlon and Nestor Shylock, were involved. So that's 9-11 Hall of Famers. And one guy who won the Ford Frick, or not Ford Frick, the Buck O'Neill and the Branch Rickey Award.
Branch Rickey, yeah.
So, yeah, 92 years old. He lived a pretty good life. From the rest, everyone else I have is from the world of music. So we lost my guy with the same name as my father. Oddly passed away on the anniversary of my father's death. John Nolan, the lead guitarist for the Australian punk band The Powder Monkeys, passed away at the age of only 55. Powder Monkeys were a big band in the late 80s, early 90s, and then their lead singer died at 31 of a heroin overdose, and that kind of broke everything up. From the sidemen category, Phil Chen passed away. One of those session bassists again who played with everybody. He played with Jeff Beck, Rod Stewart.
Shit! I know who this guy is.
Yeah, Jamaican born, but fairly light-skinned Jamaican. Yeah. So he died from cancer. But he played with Donovan, Joan Armatrading, Robbie Krieger and John Densmore of the Doors, Eddie Van Halen. He's actually the bassist from Do You Think I'm Sexy and the Young Turks by Rod Stewart.
Yep. A song that we covered on How the Hell Did This Go #1? And I remember sort of commenting on Mr. Chen.
Yeah.
Because
so Pete Townsend. So good.
Well, he's a diminutive little guy. He's not particularly tall. So not that anyone in that group was, but just sort of like him sort of like doing that.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this really didn't do it any justice. That was probably the first and last ever John Chen impression I'm ever going to do. And it was horrible.
Probably true. But yeah, also Pete Townsend, Eric Clapton, Ray Charles, Jerry Lee Lewis, Bob Marley, Jimmy Cliff, Jackson Brown, Dave Edmonds, and a whole bunch of other people. So I always like talking about these side guys when they pass because they always get forgotten, but they are major parts of the music you listen to through the course of your life.
Absolutely.
Also lost R&B musician Joe Simon, passed away at the age of 85. Simon probably best known for his singles "You Keep Me Hanging On." What else did he do? He had a whole bunch of them. He had #1 hit on the R&B charts actually in 1972 with "The Power of Love," which I believe was the one that was covered by Huey Lewis in the News, right? He also had Get Down on the Floor, which went to #1 in 75. But he had a whole bunch of huge hits in the late 60s and 70s on the R&B charts. He passed away. I don't actually see what he passed from. So he passed away at the age of 85. Probably the godfather of Mexican music at this point, Vicente Fernandez, passed away at the age of 81. 3-time Grammy winner, 9-time Latin Grammy winner. He won 14 Lo Nuestro awards and has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. He has 50 million copies of his album sold worldwide, which makes him one of the best-selling regional Mexican artists of all time. Just a huge loss for, imagine, the best way I can describe him is he is Frank Sinatra for Mexico. Even though he doesn't sing like Frank Sinatra, I'm just saying the position he held within the Mexican hierarchy. That's where Vicente Fernandez was. But he passed away at the age of 81 after he had a fall back in August, and it just never came back. There's a lot more to say about Vicente Fernandez, but in the effort to keep going on, just realized one of the Mexican icons passed away. We also lost Ken Cragen, passed away at the age of 85, best known for organizing the We Are the World thing, and the charity event Hands Across America.
Did that work?
There were some gaps here and there.
Okay.
It's hard to get over the Rockies, for example. But yeah, there was like 6.5 million people who held hands.
Well, it'd be a lot easier now with social distancing.
True, I guess, I suppose. But yeah, he passed away at the age of 85, it said, from natural causes. And I would say, I guess, in many ways, for you at least, the biggest name of the week who passed away, Ottawa born and Ottawa passed away, Les Emerson passed away. Who is Les Emerson? Do you remember?
I don't.
Lead vocalist and guitarist for the 5-man electrical band. Also known as, that doesn't mean anything to you. Also the guy who wrote the song, and the sign said, long-haired freaky people need not apply. That's 5-man electrical band. Lead singer and writer of that song. So he passed away from COVID at the age of 77.
Sign everywhere, sign.
That's it, correct. So he had 3 top 40 hits in Canada, including #5, Control of Me, which I can't tell you I know off the top of my head.
I don't know that either.
It hit #5 in 1972 and hit #51 on the US Hot 100 that year. So there you go. That is what we have for the week.
Okay. Well, my next section is going to be pretty quick. It's the elevator up, elevator down. I think you're might have some input on elevator down. It's a repeat offender. And what that is, for those just tuning in, I look at the past week, who made a great Hall of Fame case and who didn't over the past week. And it's so easy with mixed martial arts when somebody wins a title. And that's what happened with Juliana Pena, who knocked out my favorite, or choked out my favorite fighter right now, Amanda Nunes. Amanda was dominating in the first round and she just got caught. Whenever you win a title, and for Pena, she pretty much needed this. This probably would have been her last title shot. She's at 32, a decent record going in. Like some people have called this, I've read a couple articles where they say it's the biggest upset in MMA history. It isn't, but
it seems like everything always seems like it at the time.
Yeah, but it's pretty big. And if she loses, she probably doesn't get another shot, unless she did super well. And after watching the first round, I'm sure it didn't look like she was going to. She's now a potential Hall of Famer for UFC, because you got to be pretty much a champion or massive
right.
level. And now she is. Now she's going to be both, because especially when those two fight again, and I hope they do. Elevator down is Kemba Walker, who stinks this year. And
yep.
I brought him up before. You called it. You called this decline.
Yep. And this is someone who absolutely loves watching Kemba Walker. I loved him at UConn. What he did in the NCAA tournament the Big East tournament, back when that meant something, into the NCAA tournament, was one of the finest performances by any college athlete in the history of college basketball. Winning 5 games in a row in 5 consecutive days of the Big East tournament, and then bringing that team that needed to play 5 games in a row of the Big East tournament to the national title was amazing. But last year, his knees were just done in Boston. Done.
Yeah, and he's even worse now. They've got to take him out of the starting lineup in New York. He's still in there. He started all 18 games he's played. His production is super low, only averaging 11 points per game. There's not much left of this guy. Watching him, you always notice when somebody loses a step, but sometimes it takes you a while to figure that out. It's hard watching him play, because I don't know how much longer he's got with what he's doing. He's one of those guys who was knocking a bit on the door, but needed a little bit more in the NBA. He's going to be in the College Basketball Hall of Fame as
100%. 100%.
As for the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame, he's going to have a real hard time, because the two, yes, he was dominant in Charlotte, but Charlotte wasn't any good.
Right. And he never played with the U.S. national team, so he doesn't have any of that stuff.
Right. And he's got a bit of a label as a failure or disappoint or a bust in Boston.
In Boston, certainly. I mean, he was a great guy, but he just he couldn't.
Yeah. And again, when you fail in Boston, it's a lot different than when you fail in
Charlotte.
Yeah, it just is. So Kemba Walker, and I love you. I really do. I wanted him to get out of that Charlotte's team so bad, because that was a fun team to watch. It really was. And it's just not going to be enough. And he doesn't have the horses to get any more accolades. He just doesn't.
Can I give you an early nominee for another elevator down from the same league?
Sure.
I'm going to ask you a question first.
Okay.
How many games did Greg Oden play in his first 3 seasons in the NBA?
Okay, well, I think one season he didn't play at all. 61.
82.
Okay.
I bring this up because through his first 3 seasons in the NBA, with only 85 games played, is Zion Williamson. And he may be getting shut down again.
Yeah.
And it's not poor New Orleans. Every time they get somebody good, they either don't stay healthy or they won't stay with the franchise.
Right.
And he's much more likely at this point to me to be Greg Oden than Anthony Davis. Or even Zebo.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think the only difference though is when Greg Oden was healthy, he still sucked.
Well, he was 96 years old, so
Well, that's the funniest thing ever, too, is when you just look at him in that Ohio State uniform. Like, what the hell is Morgan Freeman doing playing for the Buckeyes? How is this happening? It's and of course, Portland would be the team that passed on him, that took him and passed on.
Yeah.
Durant.
Yeah, they passed to Jordan, didn't get, and for Sam Bowie, and they passed on Durant for
Morgan Freeman. And then
Morgan
I
Freeman.
said this to my buddy all the time. I said, like, he looks like that, and they're surprised that he has microfractures all over his brittle bones. Of course he does.
Yeah.
Oh,
He has osteoporosis coming in.
yeah. Well, he probably looks the exact same.
Probably.
I mean,
We were talking about that today, actually, at lunch, that Morgan Freeman also looks the exact same. He's looked the exact same since like Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. He has not aged. He's
Not
just
very
been
much.
like, because we were talking about people like that who people have been adults your whole life. Like Steve Martin, you could pick any time between 1977 and now and not know how old Steve Martin was.
I guess that's sort of the one thing about sort of keeping your hair and it all goes gray really quick.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually everything catches up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When you're 50, when you look old when you look old at 30, chances are at 50, you're going to look kind of the same.
Mhm.
There's of
Yeah.
course a lot of exceptions to that rule, but
Right. So,
yeah,
but anyway,
where does Greg Oden go from there? Like nowhere. He can't look older.
yeah, I know. But anyway, I just wanted to bring up Williamson as an
No,
early
that's-
candidate for elevator down at some point here.
That's a very good one.
Because I mean, again, he may come back this year, but first of all, why?
Yeah, I don't think the Pelicans at the time we're recording this even have 10 wins yet.
They are a non-entity to me, so I don't actually know.
Yeah.
Here, let's look that up. How many wins do the Pelicans have?
I'm pretty sure it's like still under 10. They're still single digits.
Ooh, here's something when I go to ESPN. Former Jaguar Lambo alleges that Meyer kicked him.
Yeah, I saw that.
I didn't see that earlier.
He was almost an elevator down again, but I mean, I figured, well, what's the point? I mean, like he's already everything I said about him last time, it still applies.
Yeah, Pelicans are 9-21.
Okay.
So anyway,
So
all right.
yeah, this leaves us with your hammer close, the good, the bad, and the ugly, the week of sports. I don't know what it is. Usually you give me a bit of a tease, so I have no clue what you're gonna say.
Yeah, well, so the good is an interesting good.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that. First of all, I want to say I did enjoy the Grey Cup with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers winning in overtime. And again, I brought this up before we started the pod. The very cute rules you guys have up there in Canada.
Go ahead.
That if you catch a kick off and kneel in the end zone, like happens all the time in the NFL, the other team gets a point. And so one of the guys for Hamilton, kickoff towards the end, they were down 2, took a knee. He was basically like 1 yard deep in the end zone and took a knee and gave the other team a point. So when they went down to kick the field goal, they were tying it and not winning it. The rules are like, they're just, every time I'm like, there's a little bit of a rule change that's very different, and it's weird.
I can always explain to people the 3 downs. I can explain the larger field. I can't explain the damn point thing. I hate it. I hate it. It's stupid. It's a participation thing. It's maybe
it literally seems like a participation thing. 100%.
Mhm.
Like you should not be able to get a random point off a kickoff. And if they kick it like all the way through the end zone, they get 2 points, don't they?
I don't think so.
No, there's like another random 2-point play you guys have. I thought.
No,
I don't know.
That's the standard ones.
All right. Well, anyway,
You know what? I could be wrong. My CFL knowledge is really poor. Although I'll let this cat out of the bag. For those of you hearing all the great whistling frogs and you're a regular listener, hey, this is happening in Barbados. I'm the only person alive who's going to be moving from Barbados to Winnipeg.
in February.
Hopefully March, but yeah. Yeah. So
I'd like to miss February if possible.
I'm hoping we miss February. So we'll see what sort of woodland critters invade our audio space come then.
Good luck.
Yes.
All of a sudden, you'll just have rutting caribou outside. So,
I had that in Jasper
oh, true,
many times.
true. So, anyway, all right. So, good, bad, ugly. We didn't actually get there. So, the good is actually a weird good.
Okay.
And it is the fact that the Power 5 conferences are freaking out that Deion Sanders was able to take the number 2 recruit and get him to leave Florida State to go to Jackson State. Now, part of the reason, the guy's name is Travis Hunter. He is a number 2 ranked recruit in the country. Oh, excuse me. He's the number 2 ranked recruit in the country. He's the first 5-star high school football prospect signed with an FCS team since 2006, when ESPN started their rating. Not only is that, he's at a historically black college. So the idea of someone like this going to Florida State, now part of it is the fact that he is going to be able to be coached by Deion Sanders, who by all accounts did a ridiculously great job this year. He was 11-1 as a coach at Jackson State. There's now also questions about how much money he may be making to go to Jackson State, to which I say,
that's okay.
If a whole bunch of people want to sponsor people to the HBCU colleges, and Georgia has to and Alabama have to hold bake sales in order to get people to come, I'm okay with that. I just like the idea that as we've talked before, the historically black colleges gave us Jerry Rice and Mel Blount, and there are a whole bunch more who Mean Joe Green. There are a whole bunch of more I'm forgetting off the top of my head, right? And Bill Nunn was very, very responsible for getting those guys into the NFL who just got in the Hall of Fame. I would love to see the big schools just take it in the nose for a while and have other people come in. Now, we have jerks like Gene Chizik, who went out today and said, here's Gene Chizik. He said every scholarship offensive lineman at UT will get $50,000 a year with the new NIL deal, not to mention the $200,000 education. Americans struggle finding $50,000 jobs to feed their children. Next, it's a $100,000 player with no end in sight. Flawed system, most dollars win. I would like to mention something about Gene Chizik. Gene Chizik had a 6-year deal with Iowa State as a head coach. $6.75 million. He won 5 wins before he was asked to leave. So he got $1.35 million per victory at Iowa State. He then went to Auburn. We got paid $9 million to go 33-19 in 4 seasons. And Auburn paid him $7.5 million to go away. Okay. This guy made over $20 million off his unpaid players, $11.5 million of which he was paid not to coach. Don't tell me what the flawed system is, Gene Chizik.
I got no problem with any of this.
No, 100% not.
Yeah.
There's the big administrators. I mean, Mark Emmert said, 2 weeks ago, that college president was the toughest job in the country, which is hilarious because it's not even the toughest job in the building that the president works in. So these guys just need to be punched in the nose by people. And if this leads to the complete and utter destruction of the NCAA cabal, awesome. Great. Power to the people. Fuck people like the University of Texas, who has held everybody up for a long time and is going to get their asses handed them over and over and over again in the SEC. Like, screw all these traditional people who destroy traditional rivalries so they can make themselves more money.
Maybe they should ask to be in Vanderbilt's division, because at least that's your guaranteed W.
Vanderbilt will beat them.
Vanderbilt will not beat Texas.
Vanderbilt will beat Texas. And the first time they play in the SEC, I will put money on it. I'll put a beer on it.
Done.
Give you a chance.
Yeah, please give me a chance, because I need it. I keep getting my ass handed to us in every damn.
Yeah, I'll take Vanderbilt over Texas. I will take Jackson State over Texas at this point. That school is
I wonder,
Unaware of its current standing in college sports.
could that lead to one of them being ranked?
It's a different division. So
Okay, but 10, 11 years ago, before Appalachian State went to Division One, they beat
Michigan.
Yeah, in the opening week, and they got ranked.
Possible, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. I mean, if there's one thing in this country I don't.
or some people gave them votes. I don't know if they were ranked, but
it's possible. If
Yeah.
there's one thing in the sporting landscape that other people care about that I just am more apathetic about than anything is college football, just because of the danger that all these players are in and not getting compensated for it. That I'm more likely to watch a fully everybody paid college football than I would be to watch college football normally.
no, and I hear you.
Everyone talked about people leaving the schools early to go on the NBA, and they're like, well, it's a racial thing. I think more than anything with the NBA and NFL and people are leaving early is that until recently, there was no minor league system set up.
I think that's what it is more than anything.
Yeah. So hockey has a great minor league system. Baseball had a decent minor league system. And then the man who hates baseball more than anyone, Rob Manfred, decided to mess with it a little bit. But basketball, good.
I was going to say I could have easily used him as an elevator down at any point in time, but there's no point. He's going to get in.
Yeah, he's going to get in.
So,
but the NBA figured this out over the last decade, and they really made the D League a thing, or is it now the G League? It used to be the D League. I think it's the G League.
G League, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Named after the great Jennifer Lopez movie.
Is there,
G League.
Oh.
It's a bad movie.
Okay. So, went over my head.
Yeah. And now basically every team has their own minor league team and they can bring people back and forth and it works normally. And the other leagues around the world are getting some of these players in and everything. It really exists. Football does not have that.
Right.
So a lot of these guys are going to put their bodies on the line for these guys who are making millions of dollars off them and not make any money off of it eventually. Because there's nowhere for them to go.
Good. And it's fantastic. And I'm happy for it. And they should. And for those who are saying, well, you know what, they're getting their education. Okay. And how much money is being profited off of them? 100%. And is it fair? Well, should that be spread around to the other sports? No, because they don't generate that money. Sorry, they don't.
But if in individual situations like Paige Buchers at University of Connecticut,
that's
like
different. Yeah, but
she's. My point is, she is possibly going to get a whole bunch of money on her own, in endorsements, everything. She should be able to. 100%.
Why not?
100% she should be able to. If there's a great gymnast somewhere, a great swimmer, a great sprinter, a great fencer, I don't know, someone who somehow catches the imagination and they want to put them in there, they should be able to do that. Because here's the thing, athletes aren't the only ones who get full scholarships. Good students get full scholarships all the time to these schools, right? My wife got a full scholarship to Bowling Green for undergrad and grad school. She went to college entirely for free. And if she wanted an internship or a job or something else while she was there, she would have been able to do that. The NCAA rules do not allow players to do that. Say basically, congratulations, they're going somewhere for free when they can't afford to buy themselves a sandwich.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
And this is all changes for the better. Yeah, this is another good. I like your good.
Yeah. So it's a weird one because of the fact that it seems like this guy may have gotten some money to go to Jackson State. But hey, if Jackson State can outbid Florida State for a player, more power to them.
I gotta say, Dion always sort of struck me as a bit of a kind of a buffoonish type of character in some ways. And so when I heard, okay, he's going to be a head coach, like, this is going to go well. Well, I'm eating my words on that one. And that was a fly that just went into my little thing. And
I thought you were just like a big sigh. Like
no, that was a fly sacrificing his life for the emphatic thing that I was wrong on Dion.
There you go.
Yeah, that always scares me every time.
So that is my good.
Right.
So trying trying to decide which of these I want bad and which of these I want ugly.
Oh, jeez.
I actually just kind of want to go.
Go alphabetical.
I just think I want to go ugly in general. I think I'm just going to pull both of these things in because they're related to the same sport.
All right, so it's a so it's a bugly.
It's a bugly, yeah, like the thing that just flew into your zapper there.
Yeah.
The NFL's got a problem.
Just one.
So the first one, yeah, that's the reason there are two of them. The first one is this Washington football team thing is not going away. And Congress is getting involved with this. And the more they talk, the more it seems like a cover up. And the more it seems like a cover up, the more Congress is going to get involved in this. And eventually they think they're going to be able to keep all this stuff in. They are not going to be able to keep all this stuff in.
No.
And they're going to have a lot bigger names falling than John Gruden, as big a name as John Gruden is, when this stuff all comes out. Now, is it possible? I heard a conspiracy theory that Jeff Bezos wants to buy a team and he's trying to get the league to get one of the owners out. And so that's one of the conspiracy theories out there. I don't know.
It's as good as any.
Yeah, I just have a hard time believing that in 2023, Daniel Snyder is the owner of the Washington football team. They're also, by the way, not going to be the Washington football team at that point. They'll probably figured out that they're going to be able to be the Red Wolves at that point, which is what their name is going to be. Everybody, just so you know, it's been that way for I've been saying that for 3 years. It's still going to be the Red Wolves. They just were too stupid to buy up the name ahead of time. And actually one of their fans bought it and they've been negotiating with him and he won't budge. Which is, gotta ask what kind of fan he is, but probably a Washington DC person using your leverage. What are you going to do? But they will be the Red Wolves eventually here. I just have a hard time believing it. This is a very, very bad look for the NFL, and they're going to have to figure out something about this because there's not a good way out of this. I also think it is in play that Roger Goodell ends up having to resign when this all gets done. Jeff Pash will definitely have to resign, who's the head of the legal when it all comes out, which good riddance to bad rubbish. As you guys know, Jeff Pash is the guy who invented Deflategate, and lied about it in front of court and somehow got away with it. But there's some real bad stuff in there. And it's all going to come out and they're going to be in trouble because now that the Congress is involved, it's in DC too. So it's not like a team it's not like it's the Jaguars or the Chargers or the Cardinals or like a team that's far away that nobody necessarily really cares about. The only two things
it's a local unlikable owner.
Yeah. The only two teams, I don't care what people say about the Nationals and the Wizards and the Capitals. The only two things that are religion in DC are politics and the Washington football team. They're the only two things that really matter in that town. And it's bad. It's going to be real bad for them. I've said this a while. I could be wrong, but I do not think so.
I said this when this all came out. I mean, like, there's no way to believe that in the thousands upon thousands of emails, the worst things you have are a few things that Gruden said, which really wasn't that bad in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, and the next worst thing you have is that Schefter sent a thing for approval to the.
Yeah, which again is, I mean, it's not the most ethical thing. Gruden said a whole bunch of shit that a lot of other people were thinking.
What Gruden said just happened to be caught in an email that that is at the time probably prevailing thought amongst some of the old school folks in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's. I just think he's the one who got roasted for it, and there's a whole bunch worse stuff in there. But
I do feel bad for the guy because I'm not convinced that John Gruden's a racist. I do think he's guilty of using antiquated language.
I mean, we shall see.
But he very well might be. Don't know.
Again, we don't know, but it doesn't look good, and they basically are like, "Hey, we'll throw him out of there for the heck of it." So, but the bigger issue that the NFL faces is what's going on with CTE. The report coming out here about oh my goodness, I actually just closed the
Yeah, I'm blanking on the name of the
I
per-
just closed it. Adams,
what
Philip
did they say?
Adams.
Yeah, what did they say? That they thought his brain was worse than Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah. Yeah, Philip Adams killed a doctor and his wife and two of their grandkids back in April. And
Mhm.
also the two HVAC people who happened to be at their house trying to fix their air conditioning.
Yeah.
And then shot himself. Adams had his brain went to the research, and with permission of the family, they released it, and it's super bad. And again, Aaron Hernandez, super bad. Dave Dorson shot himself so he got his brain donated. Junior Seau shot himself so he can get his brain donated. Like, there are tons and tons and tons of these stories. And
that wrestler who just died, Daphne.
oh yeah.
I mean, I know we're talking football, but I mean, like, it's yeah. But sorry, I interrupted. Go ahead.
But I mean, at some point, they're going to have to come to terms with their sport is literally killing people.
But it has been for years, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
And I mean, it'd be interesting to see, like, I mean, they're still alive, but Ray Caruth or Ray Rice or fill in the blank here, who had a domestic violence thing, and Ray Caruth did more than that. He shot and killed his wife.
Mhm.
But like all these guys who've had all these issues, who are still alive, I wouldn't be shocked to go back and see it's the same sort of issue.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I'm not saying that's 100% to blame for what Philip Adams did. I'm not saying it's 100% to blame for what Aaron Hernandez
Sure
did.
is the most logical explanation, though, isn't it?
But if someone who's already on the violent side of things
Mhm.
has that, it's a problem. And I don't know what they're going to do about it.
I don't think they know what they're going to do about it.
Mm-mm. I don't know. Yeah,
I mean, they're trying.
Yeah. Well,
But-
first of all, they weren't trying until recently. They
Sure.
were denying up
That's
until
very
they
true,
had
yes.
that settlement. What was that? It got to be a decade ago now, right? That first settlement.
Yes.
And then they had to adjust it. And then they admitted that they were giving less to black players.
Well,
And so they had to adjust it again.
that they admitted that they were starting their negotiations less if the person would. Either way, it's still disgusting.
Yeah.
Again,
So
again, if I can,
and how that was, again, I don't know how somehow I'm the person who cares the most about that.
That's what I was just going to say. I was just going to
And-
interject and say, like the biggest example of actual systemic racism in sports, and Jamel Hill missed it completely.
And I am not a journalist, folks. I am not a journalist, but there are few people who care about that more than I do, which is a problem.
Especially considering how many of these SJW sports writers there are, and they've done nothing.
Nope.
And it was on ESPN.com. That's where you and I learned about. Well, I'm assuming that's where you learned about.
I learned about through Twitter actually first.
Oh, through Twitter. Okay.
And then it was on Twitter first. I can't remember who broke it. And I think Michael McCann covered it. Michael McCann is a sports law professor at the University of New Hampshire, where I follow, partially because he used to teach a class on Deflategate. And so he had all sorts of legal stuff that helps me sleep at night as a Patriots fan.
Well, it was on ESPN's main page.
It started on Twitter, and then ESPN did pick it up.
Okay.
And SI picked it up, and then it had like not even a 24-hour cycle.
Not
It was
even.
off.
Like, this is perfect for people. I won't say their racket. That makes it sound like I'm demeaning, but for their niche.
Their ballywick.
Yeah.
There's a good word for you.
I like that. It was
Thank
right
you.
out there. And how do you? No, they were too busy because I guess it wasn't a sexy topic. That was around the same time where they were more talking about Naomi Osaka and her issues,
Right. Yeah.
which were certainly relevant, but it's not. And this, well, see how this is racist. Like, all right, you have to make some leaps here. There's no leap here at all.
Mhm.
Zero.
No. It's just interesting what the media picks up on and what it doesn't. But regardless, getting off of this,
Yeah.
the CTE thing is going to be a massive issue at some point. The chickens are going to come home to roost on with the NFL and the people involved and what they knew and when they knew it and all this other stuff. Particularly if stuff comes out in their Washington football team emails. This is how I'm tying it back in, because I think that more than anything is what they are hiding.
If all that comes out, I guarantee what Gruden did won't even make the top 500.
Mm-mm. I think that's the real there is that there are going to be emails in there about what they know about injuries and what they are choosing to tell people and not. And if that gets out, it is the real problem, right?
This is make it much bigger 30 for 30. It's a 3,000 for 3,000. Like this is how big this could actually be. If,
right. And again, this is conjecture by me. I'm just reading tea leaves, but I do know this. This is pretty much the three worst teams that this could have happened with, honestly, are the Patriots, the Giants, and the Washington football team.
Why the Giants?
Just because of their standing within New York and the league and everything. Probably the Cowboys too. But basically the NFC East and the Patriots, because everybody hates the Patriots and they want to investigate everything. And that NFC East is just the basis of football. And the Packers and Bears, I know have been around forever, but they're kind of cute little Midwestern teams to the East Coast people. You know what I mean? Like those are the teams that everybody cares about. And this is really, really bad. The fact that it's Washington in Washington with everybody, all the staffers working for these people caring, it's not going to go away because everybody, all the fans want him fired. All the fans want Snyder out.
Yep.
And they've wanted him out for years and years and years.
It's very true. God, he's been disliked for probably longer than your kids have been alive.
Yeah, I mean, when did he even take over the team? I mean, he was not that liked when I first got there.
I don't know.
Dan Snyder took over the team in 1999. Yeah, I thought it was when I was in college.
Okay.
Dan Snyder, by the way, somehow is only 57. So he could own that team for like another 20 years if they didn't do something.
Football owners seem to live a long, long time.
Yeah, the Bears are still waiting for Virginia McCaskey to die. She's a lovely lady, but the Bears.
Yeah, they're all drinking from the same water as Sister Jean.
Yeah, that's true. The same city, but I'm 42. I'll be 43 in a couple of weeks here now. 3 weeks from tonight, actually. And during my lifetime.
3 weeks from tonight. So we're going to have the 43rd anniversary Evan Nolan Super Spectacular Hall of Fame show.
Sure. I'll bring one of those snappers and shoot confetti. I'll
bring a bunch of bugs in there too. So
if I listed the 5 best Bears quarterbacks of my lifetime, there's no way in which Rex Grossman isn't on the list.
It was the same quarterback I was thinking too.
Like, it's entirely possible Justin Fields this far into his rookie season at 4-9 is one of the 5 best quarterbacks of my lifetime with the Bears. Because the best quarterback of my lifetime with the Bears is Jay Cutler.
You're not going to say Jim McMahon did win the Super
Bowl. Number 2. No offense, but Jim McMahon's the second. Like, Cutler's got all the records. McMahon had a
punky QB. They call McMahon.
He was there to cause no trouble. He wasn't there at all. They had to put him in front with those other guys in the back because he didn't show up for that video.
You know what? I blame all those assholes for every athlete thinking they can rap.
Some can, like Damian Lillard legitimately can. But some can. Oh, by the way, it's also you should blame them for premature celebration, much like the Raiders jumping on the Chiefs midfield logo and then turning the ball over 5 times in the first half. The Chiefs fans aren't my favorite. I will tell you who one of my favorite people of the week is. The in-stadium PA guy for the Chiefs. So last year, the Raiders beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead and drove their buses as a victory lap around the stadium before they left. Then they came out and jumped on the logo and then got whacked. I mean, he's absolutely destroyed by that defense. Like Mahomes was also there, but that defense demoralized them. And as the Raiders were leaving the field, you know what song the PA system played in Arrowhead?
Hit the road, Jack.
Wheels on the bus go round and round.
Nice.
Which I've never heard it played in any professional stadium, and I can't believe they had. That dude deserves, or it could be a lady, I don't know. Whoever's in charge deserves a raise just for that. That was some epic trolling. I'm all in favor of home teams like being as biased towards their team as possible, like home stadiums and everything else. So, yeah. Speaking of that, with the Cowboys bringing their benches to Washington this last week too, because Snyder's so cheap that none of the benches were heated. The visiting team benches had no heating in them. So that's why the Cowboys actually flew their benches out there to make sure that their players had the heated seats that that they were supposed to have, and the other team was supposed to have as well. But they're so cheap. I mean, Robert Griffin III's career ended because of how cheap Snyder is, with how bad that field was. That field ruined his career.
I still remember that last run too. Well, it wasn't his last run in football, but the run, yeah.
Yeah, and the tight end, what was his name? Cooley, who was really, really good. The Redskins tight end, I can't think of his name. But yeah, another guy who was one of the best players in his position league, and has just got destroyed by that field. Chris Cooley. You remember Chris Cooley?
Not really.
He was number 47. We could use him a couple weeks ago, but he was a great player for the Redskins for a while, and then the field just destroyed him too. 2-time Pro Bowler in 07 and 08, and then just got destroyed by the field. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but I just think this is real bad.
Nothing's gonna happen.
Probably not, because nothing ever does seem to happen to anybody. At least at the top. As an example, not political, there's a story that came out about eBay where some lady wrote a review, had an online journal, wrote a review that the CEO of eBay didn't like. And they started basically a terror campaign against her, where they're sending her like pigs' heads, and they sent her husband a book on how to deal with the loss of a spouse. And they were like tagging her house and following him around and all this stuff. And yeah, it's ridiculous. You should read it. Like, and the CEO of eBay and his like top lieutenant ordered all this stuff. Top lieutenant is now the head of the YMCA for like San Bernardino, California. And the CEO of eBay left and is on the board at GM. But everybody else who worked for them is in jail.
That's some high level petty shit. I mean, I can be.
Oh yeah, you need to read that story. It's absolutely insane. It was a couple in Natick, Massachusetts. Like just the crap they did to these people. They were calling them. They signed them up for barely legal porn magazines and send it accidentally or had it put the neighbor's address on it with his name. So into a neighbor's house with his name on it. Like trying to destroy it's insane what they did. Absolutely insane. And they got caught because one of the people rented a car with her actual credit card. And they got the license plate and tracked it back to her, and then started a sting operation with the FBI and the local police. Like, and again, not that there are any angels in this. And the people at the bottom also deserve to be punished. But the people in charge are again getting away scot-free from all this stuff. It's the biggest problem we have in this country. I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat, or independent or whatever. The biggest problem we have in this entire country right now is that there's two sets of rules. The people in charge can do whatever they want without any real consequences. And the people at the bottom are the ones who always get in trouble for it. Regardless of what you think happened January 6th, the only people who've been arrested for it are the people in the building. They were not the people in charge.
That shit never changes, sadly.
Never does. We had 2008 financial meltdown. None of those people went to jail.
Yeah. Well, this could go on to a darker place.
Yeah, I know. We're going a whole different thing. So, but anyway,
which we've been making a conscious effort not to do.
Yeah. Well, that's why I try to go non-political with eBay. It's hard to get that. That's as non-political as I could go.
Yeah. Sounds good. So, all right. So with that, the Hall of Fame show is closed. But before you do that, hey, buy my book. I wrote a book, Chavo Guerrero, Instant Classic. It's got great reviews from people who read it. So that made me feel pretty good. And I don't know these people. I had to throw that go. I really don't. That made me feel pretty good. Yes. Andrea Tessman and I, tomorrow, we're going to be recording our Christmas show. How the hell did this go #1? Well, it's Mariah Carey. And all she wants for Christmas is you.
There's a lot of backlash against that song.
I don't quite know why. I think just because it's so flippin' popular.
It's ubiquitous because it's the best Christmas song.
I'm sorry.
Deck the halls of bells of holly is just like a list of things you need to do. So it's not. She just has the best Christmas song.
I actually don't hate this song, but I do hate Christmas songs. So
fair enough.
And I don't.
I just don't understand the recent backlash. That's all.
Well, that's what we're going to do a deep dive into. Maybe Andrea knows. Andrea knows more than us.
Okay.
Or more than me.
Sure. I'm not going to disagree with you on that. Because I don't know where Andrea lives, but I'm worried she'll find me if I disagree. So.
She's not petty like an eBay CEO. She'll just forget about it and move on.
I wouldn't want to meet Andrea in a dark alley. So.
I'm trying to think if I ever did. Because where we used to live next to each other was kind of alley-like. I don't know. We were always drunk together. So that's all I remember.
Fair enough.
All right. With that, the Hall of Fame show is closed. Stay safe, everybody.
Take care, guys.